The unexpected inheritance. Jake Carter, a brilliant but underappreciated engineer, receives news of an alien inheritance that changes his life forever. Journey to the stars. Jake travels to the alien world of Zephyria, encountering wonders and dangers along the way. The Zephyrian Challenge. Jake must prove his worth to the Alien Council and uncover the true nature of his inheritance. Humanity's stand. A galactic threat emerges, forcing Jake to rally both humans and Zephyrians to face the danger. The battle for two worlds. Jake leads a daring mission to save both Earth and Zephyria from annihilation. A new era dawns. In the aftermath of the conflict, Jake helps forge a new alliance between humans and aliens. Now, I'll begin writing the first part of the story. Part 1. The Unexpected Inheritance. Jake Carter wiped the sweat from his brow as he tightened the last bolt on his latest invention. The cramped garage that served as his workshop was stiflingly hot in the summer heat, but he barely noticed. His mind was lost in the intricate circuitry and revolutionary design of the device before him. At 28, Jake was a prodigy in the field of energy conversion, though the world had yet to recognize his genius. His ideas were too radical, too far ahead of their time for the staid energy corporations that dominated the industry. But Jake knew, deep in his bones, that his work could change the world. The ping of an incoming message on his battered laptop pulled Jake from his reverie. He frowned, not recognizing the sender. Curiosity piqued, he opened the email. The message that filled his screen was like nothing he'd ever seen before. Strange, flowing symbols danced across the display, morphing and shifting before resolving into English text. Jake's eyes widened as he read. Jake Carter of Earth, your friend Zornthal of Zephyria has passed beyond the veil of stars. You have been named his heir. Your presence is required on Zephyria to claim your inheritance. A ship will arrive in 3 Earth rotations. Prepare yourself for a journey beyond your imagining. Jake stared at the screen, his mind reeling. Zornthal, Zephyria. He had never heard these names before. This had to be some kind of elaborate prank. Aliens didn't exist, and even if they did, they certainly wouldn't be leaving inheritances to random humans. He was about to delete the message when a soft chime sounded from his laptop. A video call request popped up, the caller ID simply reading Zephyrian Embassy. With a trembling hand, Jake accepted the call. The face that appeared on his screen was decidedly not human. Large, almond-shaped eyes of a deep violet hue gazed at him from a face covered in iridescent scales. When the being spoke, its voice was melodious, with an otherworldly timbre that sent shivers down Jake's spine. Greetings, Jake Carter. I am Ambassador Lyra of Zephyria. I trust you have received our message regarding your inheritance. Jake nodded mutely, still struggling to process what he was seeing and hearing. The ambassador's expression softened, a gesture surprisingly human despite her alien features. I understand this must be overwhelming for you. Your species is not yet fully aware of the galactic community. However, Zornthal was insistent that you be his heir. He spoke highly of your intellect and potential. Finding his voice at last, Jake stammered, But I've never met anyone named Zornthal. How could he know me? Why would he leave me an inheritance?" Lyra's eyes sparkled with what Jake thought might be amusement. Zornthal was a master of temporal mechanics. He could perceive timelines and possibilities beyond the comprehension of most beings. He saw in you a spark that could change the course of not just your world, but many others. Jake's mind raced. Could this explain the strange flashes of inspiration he sometimes had? The solutions to complex problems that seemed to come from nowhere. What exactly am I inheriting?" he asked, his curiosity overcoming his disbelief. "That, Jake Carter, is something you must discover for yourself on Zephyria," Lyra replied. "Will you accept this journey? Will you step beyond the bounds of your world and embrace a destiny greater than you have ever imagined?" Jake looked around his small, cluttered workshop. His gaze fell on the device he had just completed, a revolutionary energy converter that no one on Earth seemed to understand or appreciate. He thought of the rejection letters from investors and the skeptical looks from his peers. In that moment, Jake made a decision that would alter the course of human history. "Yes," he said, his voice firm and clear. "I accept." Laura's face broke into a smile that was both alien and warmly familiar. "Excellent. Prepare yourself, Jake Carter. In 3 Earth rotations, your life will change forever." As the call ended, Jake sat back in his chair, his mind whirling with possibilities. He had 3 days to prepare for a journey beyond the stars. 3 days to say goodbye to everything he had ever known. The next 72 hours passed in a blur of frantic preparation and surreal goodbyes. Jake told his parents and closest friends that he had been offered a job overseas, a partial truth that was easier to swallow than the full, incredible reality. He packed light, unsure of what he would need on an alien world. His laptop, filled with his research and designs, was his most prized possession. As an afterthought, he also packed the small energy converter he had just completed. Something told him it might come in handy. On the night of the 3rd day, Jake stood in an empty field outside of town, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and excitement. The stars twinkled overhead, and for the first time in his life, Jake truly appreciated the vastness of the universe. A soft hum filled the air, growing louder with each passing second. Jake's eyes widened as a sleek, silver craft materialized out of thin air, hovering silently above the ground. It was unlike any vehicle he had ever seen, its surface smooth and seamless, glowing with a faint, pulsing light. A hatch opened in the side of the craft and a figure emerged. It was not Lyra, but another alien being, tall and lithe, with skin that shimmered like the surface of an opal. "Jake Carter," the alien said, its voice resonating in Jake's mind rather than his ears. "I am Vex, your guide to Zephyria. Are you prepared for your journey?" Jake took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. "As ready as I'll ever be," he replied, surprised at the steadiness in his voice. Vex gestured towards the open hatch. "Then let us depart. Your destiny awaits among the stars." With one last look at the world he was leaving behind, Jake stepped forward into the alien craft. The hatch closed behind him with a soft hiss, sealing him off from everything he had ever known. As Jake settled into a contoured seat that seemed to mold itself to his body, Vex took position at what appeared to be the ship's control interface. The alien's hands danced over glowing symbols, and Jake felt a slight tremor run through the craft. "Prepare yourself," Vex said. "The journey to Zephyria is not for the faint of heart." Before Jake could ask what that meant, the world outside the ship's viewports blurred into streaks of light. His stomach lurched as the craft accelerated at an impossible rate, Earth's atmosphere giving way to the star-studded blackness of space in mere seconds. Jake's mind struggled to comprehend the speed at which they were traveling. The stars themselves seemed to stretch and distort around them, reality bending in ways he had never thought possible. "We are entering fold space," Vex explained, noting Jake's wide-eyed expression. "It is how we traverse the vast distances between star systems. Your mind may experience unusual sensations." As if on cue, Jake felt a strange tingling in his temples. Colors he had never seen before danced at the edges of his vision. For a moment, he felt as if he could perceive the very fabric of space-time, intricate patterns and possibilities unfolding before him. Just as the sensations threatened to overwhelm him, everything snapped back to normal. Jake blinked, his vision clearing to reveal a breathtaking sight. Before them hung a planet unlike anything Jake had ever seen. Its surface was a swirling tapestry of vibrant purples and blues, crisscrossed by glowing lines that pulsed with energy. Orbiting the planet were structures that defied comprehension, vast rings and spheres that dwarfed any space station Jake could have imagined. "Welcome," Vex said, a note of pride in their mental voice, "to Zephyria." As their ship descended towards the alien world, Jake's mind raced with questions. What kind of inheritance could possibly be waiting for him on this incredible planet? And more importantly, why had Zornthal, a being he had never met, chosen him to receive it? Little did Jake know that the answers to these questions would not only change his life, but the fate of 2 worlds and countless lives across the galaxy. His journey was just beginning, and the universe held wonders and challenges beyond his wildest dreams. Journey to the stars. As the Zephyrian ship pierced through the planet's atmosphere, Jake pressed his face against the viewport, marveling at the alien landscape unfolding before him. Towering spires of crystalline materials stretched towards the sky, their surfaces shimmering with an inner light that pulsed in mesmerizing patterns. Between these structures, Jake glimpsed lush gardens of plants unlike anything he'd seen on Earth, vegetation in hues of deep purples, blues, and silvers that seemed to move with a life of their own. The city of luminescence, Vex explained, noting Jake's awe. It is here that you will begin to understand your inheritance. The ship glided smoothly towards a landing platform jutting out from one of the tallest spires. As they touched down, Jake felt a subtle shift in the ship's artificial gravity, adjusting to match Zephyria's slightly lower gravitational pull. You may experience some disorientation as you acclimate to our world, Vex cautioned as the hatch opened. Move slowly at first. Jake nodded, taking a deep breath before stepping out onto Zephyrian soil. The air was crisp and carried a faint scent of ozone, tingling in his nostrils. He took a tentative step, feeling lighter than he ever had before. A welcoming committee awaited them on the platform. Among them, Jake recognized the familiar face of Ambassador Lyra. Beside her stood 2 other Zephyrians, their appearances as diverse as they were breathtaking. One had skin that seemed to ripple like water, reflecting the light in mesmerizing patterns. The other appeared to be composed of living crystal, facets catching and refracting the alien sunlight. Jake Carter, Lyra greeted him warmly. Welcome to Zephyria. Allow me to introduce council members Azura and Crix. She gestured to the water-like and crystalline beings respectively. Jake bowed awkwardly, unsure of the proper etiquette. It's an honor to meet you all. I'm still not sure why I'm here, but I'm grateful for your hospitality. Azura's liquid form rippled in what Jake interpreted as amusement. When she spoke, her voice was like the gentle lapping of waves. All will be revealed in time, Jake Carter. For now, you must rest and acclimate to our world. Crix's crystalline form chimed softly as they nodded in agreement. Their voice, when it came, resonated like wind through a crystal cave. Tomorrow, you will begin to understand the gravity of your inheritance and the role you are to play. As Jake followed the group into the spire, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was walking into something far bigger than he could imagine. The interior of the building was a marvel of alien architecture, corridors that seemed to shift and change as they walked, rooms that defied Euclidean geometry, and technology so advanced it bordered on magic. They led him to a suite that would serve as his quarters. The room adjusted its environment as he entered, the temperature and lighting shifting to match his physiological preferences. Rest well, Jake Carter, Lyra said as they prepared to leave him. Tomorrow, your true journey begins. Left alone in the alien room, Jake's mind raced with questions and possibilities. He unpacked his meager belongings, placing his laptop and the small energy converter on a surface that seemed to hover in midair. As he did so, he noticed a subtle change in the room's ambience, as if it was curiously examining his Earth technology. Unable to sleep despite his exhaustion, Jake found himself drawn to a large window that offered a panoramic view of the Zephyrian cityscape. As night fell, the city came alive with bioluminescent lights, creating a breathtaking tapestry of color and motion. It was then that the reality of his situation truly hit him. He was light years from Earth, the first human to set foot on an alien world. Whatever inheritance awaited him, whatever role he was meant to play, he knew his life would never be the same. As he gazed out at the alien sky, filled with unfamiliar constellations, Jake made a silent promise to himself. He would embrace this opportunity, this incredible journey, with everything he had. He would learn, grow, and strive to live up to whatever potential Zornthal had seen in him. Little did Jake know that his resolve would soon be tested in ways he could never have imagined. For even as he marveled at the wonders of Zephyria, forces were moving in the shadows, forces that saw his arrival as a threat to their plans for galactic dominance. The next morning, Jake was awakened by a soft, melodious chime. As he stirred, the room's illumination gradually increased, mimicking a gentle sunrise. A holographic interface materialized before him, displaying a message in both Zephyrian script and English. Your presence is requested in the Hall of Legacies. Please follow the guide. As if on cue, a small orb of pulsating light appeared, hovering at eye level. Jake quickly dressed in the Zephyrian garments that had been provided for him, a comfortable, form-fitting suit that seemed to adjust to his body temperature and movements. Following the orb, Jake navigated through the twisting corridors of the spire. Other Zephyrians they passed regarded him with a mixture of curiosity and respect. Jake couldn't shake the feeling that they knew something about his purpose here that he didn't. The Hall of Legacies was a vast, circular chamber. Its domed ceiling seemed to display a real-time map of the galaxy, stars and nebulae swirling in a cosmic dance. At the center of the room stood a raised platform, upon which rested a device unlike anything Jake had ever seen. Lyra, Azura, and Crix were waiting for him, along with several other Zephyrians he didn't recognize. As Jake approached, the device on the platform hummed to life, projecting a holographic image of a Zephyrian Jake assumed must be Zornthal. The hologram smiled warmly at Jake. Greetings, Jake Carter of Earth. If you are seeing this message, then I have passed beyond the veil of stars, and you have accepted the call to claim your inheritance. Jake listened, transfixed, as Zornthal's hologram continued. You may wonder why I chose you, a being I never met in the conventional sense. As a master of temporal mechanics, I have observed countless potential futures. In you, Jake Carter, I saw a spark, a combination of brilliant intellect, unwavering determination, and a compassionate heart that could change the course of galactic history. The hologram gestured, and the galactic map above them zoomed in on a particular region. Your inheritance is not merely material wealth, though that is part of it. What I leave to you is far more valuable and dangerous: knowledge. Knowledge of a threat that looms over not just Zephyria or Earth, but countless worlds across the galaxy. Jake's heart raced as Zornthal's hologram detailed a chilling prophecy. A race of beings known as the Void Harbingers, ancient and terrifyingly powerful, was stirring from eons of dormancy. Their awakening threatened to plunge the galaxy into chaos and destruction. Your inheritance, Jake Carter, Zornthal's hologram concluded, is the key to stopping them. In my research, I discovered a way to counter the Void Harbinger's power, but the solution requires something that only you, with your unique human perspective and your brilliant mind, can provide. As the hologram faded, Jake turned to face the assembled Zephyrians, his mind reeling from the weight of this revelation. Lyra stepped forward, her expression grave. Now you understand, Jake Carter, why you were brought here. The fate of countless worlds rests in your hands. Are you ready to accept this inheritance and the responsibility that comes with it? Jake took a deep breath, his gaze sweeping across the faces of the alien beings who had placed their trust in him. He thought of Earth, blissfully unaware of the cosmic threat looming over it. He thought of the wonders he had seen since arriving on Zephyria, and of the untapped potential that Zornthal had seen in him. With a determination that surprised even himself, Jake nodded. I accept, he said, his voice steady and resolute. I don't fully understand how I can help, but I promise I'll do everything in my power to live up to Zornthal's faith in me. A ripple of approval passed through the assembled Zephyrians. Crix's crystalline form chimed with what Jake interpreted as satisfaction. Then let your training begin, Jake Carter of Earth. For the skills and knowledge you'll need to face the coming storm go far beyond anything your world has dreamed of. As the Zephyrians began to outline the intensive program of study and preparation Jake would undergo, he couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. He was about to embark on a journey of discovery that would push him to his limits and beyond. Little did Jake know that even as he took his first steps on this new path, the Void Harbingers were stirring. The cosmic chess game had begun, and Jake Carter, the unexpected heir from a small blue planet, was now a key player in the battle for the galaxy's future. The Zephyrian Challenge. The days that followed were a whirlwind of intense learning and adaptation for Jake. His training covered a vast array of subjects, from advanced xenobiology to quantum mechanics far beyond Earth's current understanding. The Zephyrians were patient but demanding teachers, pushing Jake to expand his mind in ways he never thought possible. One morning, about a month into his training, Jake found himself in a vast chamber deep within the City of Luminescence. The room hummed with energy, its walls lined with technology that seemed to blur the line between science and magic. Azura, her liquid form shimmering with anticipation, gestured towards a central platform. Today, Jake Carter, you face the trials of cognizance. This is a rite of passage for all who seek to unlock the deeper mysteries of the universe. Jake swallowed hard, nodding as he stepped onto the platform. He had heard whispers of these trials from other Zephyrians, spoken of with a mix of reverence and trepidation. As soon as his feet touched the platform, the world around him dissolved into a kaleidoscope of light and sensation. Jake felt his consciousness expand, stretching beyond the confines of his physical form. Suddenly, he found himself floating in what appeared to be open space, surrounded by stars and swirling nebulae. A voice, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere, spoke to him. Jake Carter of Earth, you stand at the crossroads of realities. To proceed, you must solve the paradox of eternity. Before Jake could ask what that meant, the starfield around him shifted, forming into complex mathematical equations and interdimensional diagrams. He realized with a start that he could understand them, his month of intensive study allowing him to grasp concepts that would have been incomprehensible to him before. As Jake's mind raced through the calculations, he began to see patterns emerging. The paradox of eternity, he realized, was a question of perspective. By shifting his viewpoint to a higher dimension, the seemingly irreconcilable equations aligned into a harmonious whole. Just as he was about to voice his solution, the scene changed again. Jake found himself standing on a barren planet, facing a massive, swirling vortex of darkness. The Void Harbingers approach, the disembodied voice intoned. You have the knowledge to stop them, but knowledge alone is not enough. Show us your resolve. The vortex pulsed, sending out tendrils of inky blackness that threatened to engulf everything. Jake's first instinct was to run, but he stood his ground. Drawing on the mental disciplines he had learned, he focused his mind, visualizing a barrier of pure energy. To his amazement, the barrier materialized, holding back the encroaching darkness. But it wasn't enough. The void pressed against his defenses, seeking weaknesses. In that moment of desperation, Jake had an epiphany. He reached out with his mind, not just defending, but seeking to understand the nature of the void itself. As he did so, he felt a connection forming, a bridge between the darkness and the light. I see now, Jake said, his voice echoing across the alien landscape. The Void Harbingers aren't just a threat to be stopped. They're a part of the universal balance, misunderstood and feared. The key isn't to destroy them, but to find harmony. As soon as the words left his mouth, the barren world dissolved, and Jake found himself back in the chamber, gasping for breath. The assembled Zephyrians regarded him with a mixture of awe and approval. Crix stepped forward, their crystalline form resonating with excitement. You have passed the trials of cognizance, Jake Carter. Few have ever achieved such insight on their first attempt. Lyra nodded, her eyes shining with pride. You have shown not just intelligence, but wisdom beyond your years. Zornthal's faith in you was not misplaced. As the implications of what he had experienced sank in, Jake felt a new sense of purpose flooding through him. He had glimpsed the true nature of the challenge they faced, and with that understanding came hope. What's our next step? Jake asked, his voice filled with determination. Azura's liquid form rippled with approval. Now, we begin the real work. You will help us construct the Harmonizer, a device capable of communicating with the Void Harbingers and restoring balance to the galaxy. Over the next few weeks, Jake threw himself into the project with renewed vigor. His unique perspective as a human, combined with the advanced knowledge he had gained, led to breakthroughs that amazed even the most seasoned Zephyrian scientists. The Harmonizer began to take shape, a complex array of crystalline structures and energy conduits that pulsed with an otherworldly light. As they worked, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that they were racing against time. Reports were coming in from across the galaxy of strange phenomena, signs that the Void Harbingers were stirring. One evening, as Jake was making final adjustments to the Harmonizer's primary resonance chamber, an alarm blared through the city. Lyra burst into the lab, her usual composure shaken. "Jake, we've received a distress signal from Earth," she said, her voice tight with concern. "It seems the Void Harbingers have turned their attention to your homeworld." Jake's blood ran cold. Earth had no idea of the cosmic forces at play, no defenses against such an incomprehensible threat. He looked at the Harmonizer, still not fully complete, then back at Lyra. "We have to go," he said, his voice firm with resolve. "Earth needs our help, and this might be our only chance to test the Harmonizer in real conditions." Azura and Crix exchanged glances, then nodded in agreement. "It will be dangerous," Crix chimed, "but you are right. This is the moment we have been preparing for." As the Zephyrians mobilized their fastest ship and prepared the Harmonizer for transport, Jake felt the weight of two worlds on his shoulders. He had come to love Zephyria, with all its wonders and mysteries, but Earth was his home. The thought of it facing cosmic horror alone filled him with dread. As they boarded the ship, Harmonizer secured in its hold, Jake gazed out at the shimmering spires of the City of Luminescence. Whatever happened next, he knew his life had been forever changed by his time here. The ship's engines hummed to life, and Jake felt the familiar lurch as they entered Fold space. They were racing back to Earth, hoping against hope that they weren't too late. The fate of not just one world, but the entire galaxy hung in the balance. As the ship hurtled through the cosmos, Jake Carter, the unexpected heir from a small blue planet, steeled himself for the greatest challenge of his life. The battle for Earth, for Zephyria, and for the very fabric of reality itself was about to begin. Humanity's stand. The Zephyrian ship burst out of Fold space in Earth's solar system, and Jake's heart clenched at the sight before him. A massive, swirling vortex of darkness hung in space near Earth's orbit, tendrils of void energy reaching out towards the blue planet he called home. By the eternal stars, Lyra breathed, her alien features etched with concern. The Void Harbinger's influence is stronger here than we anticipated. Jake's mind raced. They had to act fast, but they couldn't simply attack. His experience in the trials of cognizance had shown him that understanding and harmony were key. "We need to get closer," Jake said, his voice steady despite the fear coursing through him. "Can we broadcast a message to Earth's governments? We'll need their cooperation." Crix nodded, their crystalline form chiming with approval. "A wise suggestion. I will prepare the communication arrays." As they approached Earth, weaving carefully around the tendrils of void energy, Jake crafted a message. It was perhaps the most important speech of his life, an introduction of alien life to humanity, a warning of cosmic peril, and a call for unity all in one. The message was broadcast globally, overriding all communications networks. On screens around the world, people watched in awe and fear as Jake, flanked by his alien allies, explained the situation. "People of Earth," Jake began, his voice carrying the weight of his experiences, "I know this is shocking and frightening, but we are not alone in the universe, and right now, we face a threat beyond imagination. I'm asking you to trust me, to trust us. Our survival depends on it." As the message played out, detailing the nature of the Void Harbingers and the plan to use the Harmonizer, the ship descended into Earth's atmosphere. They landed in a cleared area outside New York City, where world leaders were hastily gathering. The sight of the Zephyrian ship, and its alien occupants caused initial panic, but Jake's presence and the looming threat visible in the sky helped to quell fears. As Jake stepped out to meet the assembled leaders, he felt the weight of two worlds on his shoulders. "Mr. Carter," the US president addressed him, eyes darting between Jake and his alien companions. "Your message, it's almost impossible to believe. And yet, the evidence is right above us. What do you need from us?" Jake took a deep breath. "We need your trust and your help. The device we've brought, the harmonizer, it's our best hope. But to work, it needs to be tied into Earth's electromagnetic field. We'll need access to power grids, satellite networks, everything." There was hesitation, understandably, but as the void in the sky grew larger, as reports came in of strange phenomena occurring around the globe, the decision was made. Humanity would stand with its alien allies against the cosmic threat. What followed was a frenzy of activity. The harmonizer was set up in a hastily cleared area, connected to power sources from around the globe. Scientists and engineers from Earth worked alongside Zephyrians, marveling at the advanced technology even as they raced against time. As the final connections were made, Jake stood before the harmonizer, its crystalline structures pulsing with energy. This was the moment of truth. "Jake," Azura said, her liquid form rippling with concern, "you understand that activating the harmonizer is dangerous. Your connection to both Earth and Zephyria makes you the ideal conduit, but the strain on your mind could be severe." Jake nodded, a sad smile on his face. "I understand, but we don't have a choice. Two worlds are counting on us. On me. I have to try." With a deep breath, Jake placed his hands on the harmonizer's control interface. Immediately, he felt a surge of energy course through him. His consciousness expanded, rocketing out beyond his body, beyond Earth, into the very fabric of space-time itself. He could feel the Void Harbingers now, their vast alien intellects probing at the edges of his awareness. They were ancient, powerful, and utterly unlike anything he had ever encountered. But they weren't evil, Jake realized. They were curious, seeking to understand, their actions destructive only because they didn't comprehend the harm they caused. Drawing on everything he had learned, on Zephyria and in the trials of cognizance, Jake reached out to them. Not with words, but with concepts, emotions, sharing the beauty and complexity of life as he knew it. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, there was no response. Then, slowly, Jake felt a shift. The Void Harbingers were responding, their cosmic awareness turning from destruction to curiosity. On Earth, people watched in awe as the swirling vortex in the sky began to change. The inky blackness lightened, shot through with streaks of color. The tendrils reaching for Earth withdrew, coalescing into shapes of impossible geometry. Jake pushed harder, his body on Earth shaking with the strain. He showed the Void Harbingers the harmony of the universe, the balance between all things. He offered understanding and asked for the same in return. With a flash of light that was seen around the world, the vortex collapsed in on itself. In its place hung a shimmering portal, a window between realities. Through it, Jake could sense the Void Harbingers, no longer a threat, but a new frontier of cosmic understanding. As Jake's consciousness returned to his body, he collapsed, caught by Lyra and Crix. Around them, humans and Zephyrians alike cheered, the joy of survival mingling with awe at what they had just witnessed. "You did it, Jake," Lyra said softly, helping him to his feet. "You've changed everything." As Jake looked up at the shimmering portal in the sky, then at the faces of humans and aliens standing together, he knew she was right. This was only the beginning. Humanity had taken its first real steps into a larger universe, and he, Jake Carter, once just a dreamer from a small blue planet, would help lead the way. The threat was over, but the true adventure was just beginning. The battle for two worlds. In the days following the harmonizer's activation, Earth was abuzz with activity. The presence of alien life and the narrowly averted cosmic catastrophe had united humanity in a way never before seen. Nations set aside their differences, pooling resources and knowledge to prepare for this new era of galactic citizenship. Jake found himself at the center of it all, a bridge between two worlds. He split his time between Earth and Zephyria, facilitating the exchange of knowledge and culture. The portal left behind by the Void Harbingers, now stabilized and controlled, served as a gateway between the two planets. However, not everyone welcomed this new cosmic order. On both Earth and Zephyria, factions arose that viewed the interworld alliance with suspicion and fear. On Earth, a group calling themselves the Human Purity Front gained traction, spreading propaganda about the dangers of alien influence. On Zephyria, conservative elements of society worried that too much contact with lesser species would dilute their advanced culture. Jake watched these developments with growing concern. He knew that fear and misunderstanding could undo everything they had accomplished. One morning, as Jake was preparing to address a United Nations assembly on Earth, he received an urgent message from Lyra on Zephyria. "Jake, we have a situation." Lyra's holographic form flickered with tension. The conservative faction has taken control of the harmonic spire. They're threatening to sever the portal link permanently. Jake's heart raced. The harmonic spire was the Zephyrian counterpart to Earth's harmonizer, maintaining the delicate balance of the portal. If it was shut down, both worlds would be cut off from each other, and the fragile peace with the Void Harbingers could collapse. "I'm on my way," Jake said, already moving towards the portal terminal. But before he could reach it, an explosion rocked the building. The Human Purity Front had launched an attack on the Earth side of the portal. Jake found himself caught in the middle of a two-world crisis. On Earth, he had to protect the portal and convince humanity of the importance of their cosmic connections. On Zephyria, he needed to regain control with the harmonic spire and maintain the bridge between worlds. With quick thinking, Jake reached out to his allies on both planets. On Earth, he contacted Dr. Emily Chen, a brilliant physicist who had been instrumental in adapting the harmonizer to Earth technology. "Emily, I need you to coordinate the defense of the portal on this side," Jake said urgently. "Use everything we've learned about harmonic resonance to create a protective field." On Zephyria, he connected with Crix, whose crystalline form could interface directly with the harmonic spire's systems. "Crix, can you infiltrate the spire's network? We need to keep the portal stable from your end while I try to reason with the conservative faction." As his friends sprang into action, Jake took a deep breath and stepped through the portal to Zephyria. The usually smooth transition felt turbulent, a sign of the portal's instability. On Zephyria, Jake found the City of Luminescence in chaos. The conservative faction had rallied significant support, playing on fears of human influence. Using the diplomatic skills he'd honed over the past months, Jake managed to secure a meeting with the faction's leader, a Zephyrian elder named Vox. "Vox," Jake pleaded, "you must understand. Severing the connection between our worlds won't protect Zephyria. It will only leave us all vulnerable when the next cosmic threat emerges." Vox's form shimmered with skepticism. "And how do we know humans won't be that threat? Your kind has a history of violence and destruction." Jake nodded, acknowledging the point. "We do. But we also have a capacity for growth, for learning. The connection between our worlds has already pushed humanity to be better. We're uniting, advancing, reaching for the stars in peace rather than conquest." As they debated, Jake received updates from both Emily and Crix. The situation on Earth was stabilizing, the Human Purity Front's attack repelled. On Zephyria, Crix had managed to secure partial control of the harmonic spire's systems, but a complete shutdown was still possible. Jake realized he needed to take a risk. He asked Vox and the other conservative leaders to join him at the harmonic spire. There, he interfaced directly with the spire systems, much as he had with the harmonizer on Earth. Once again, Jake felt his consciousness expand. But this time, he didn't reach out to the Void Harbingers. Instead, he created a harmonic link between every being in the room, human and Zephyrian alike. For a moment, they all shared in Jake's expanded awareness. They felt the delicate balance of the universe, the interconnectedness of all things. They saw the beauty of both Earth and Zephyria, and understood the potential of their united future. As the link faded, Jake saw understanding dawn in Vox's eyes. The conservative faction stood down, relinquishing control of the harmonic spire. We had no idea, Vox said, his voice filled with awe. The harmony between our worlds, it's beautiful. With the crisis averted on both planets, Jake felt a wave of relief wash over him. But he knew this was just one battle in an ongoing struggle for understanding and cooperation. As he stood there, in the harmonic spire overlooking the city of luminescence, with the portal to Earth shimmering in the sky above, Jake realized that his true work was just beginning. The threat of the Void Harbingers had been averted, but the challenge of uniting two vastly different worlds remained. It would take time, patience, and understanding. There would be setbacks and conflicts. But as Jake looked at the faces around him, human and Zephyrian alike, he felt hope. Together, they had faced a cosmic threat. Together, they had overcome fear and prejudice. And together, they would forge a new future among the stars. As the twin suns of Zephyria set, casting the city of luminescence in a breathtaking array of colors, Jake Carter, the unexpected heir who had become a bridge between worlds, smiled. The greatest adventure of all still lay ahead. A new era dawns. 5 years had passed since the day Jake Carter had first set foot on Zephyrian soil. In that time, the alliance between Earth and Zephyria had grown stronger, weathering challenges both cosmic and cultural. The portal, now a stable and constant feature in the skies of both worlds, served as a symbol of their unified future. Jake, now 33, had become a respected figure on both planets. His unique position as a bridge between worlds had evolved into something more. He was now an ambassador of cosmic harmony, working tirelessly to expand humanity's role in the galactic community. On this particular day, Jake stood before a massive crowd gathered in a newly constructed amphitheater that straddled the portal itself. On one side, the gleaming spires of the city of luminescence reached towards Zephyria's twin suns. On the other, the skyline of New York City stretched out under a clear blue Earth sky. The amphitheater itself was a marvel of joint human-Zephyrian engineering, a physical manifestation of their combined potential. Citizens of Earth and Zephyria, Jake began, his voice carrying across two worlds. 5 years ago, we faced a threat that could have torn our worlds apart. Instead, it brought us together. Today, we celebrate not just our survival, but the flourishing of a partnership that has propelled both our civilizations to new heights. As Jake spoke, holographic displays showcased the advancements of the past 5 years. Earth had taken quantum leaps in technology, medicine, and environmental restoration, guided by Zephyrian knowledge. Zephyria, in turn, had been invigorated by humanity's creativity and adaptability, leading to breakthroughs in arts, philosophy, and even some scientific fields. But our journey is far from over, Jake continued. Today, we embark on our greatest adventure yet. Thanks to our combined efforts and the knowledge gained from our encounter with the Void Harbingers, we have developed the technology for sustainable long-range space exploration. A hush fell over the crowd as a massive starship shimmered into view above the amphitheater. Its design was a harmony of human ingenuity and Zephyrian elegance, capable of folding space in ways that would allow it to reach distant stars in a fraction of the time once thought possible. The U.S. Harmony, Jake announced, a smile playing on his lips. The first of a fleet that will carry representatives from both our worlds to the stars. Our mission is one of peace, of exploration, and of extending the hand of friendship to new civilizations. The crowd erupted in cheers, the excitement palpable on both sides of the portal. As the applause died down, Jake's expression became more serious. But as we reach for the stars, we must not forget the lessons of our past. The universe is vast and full of wonders, but also dangers. Our strength lies not in conquest or domination, but in our unity, our diversity, and our commitment to understanding. Jake paused, his gaze sweeping across the assembled crowd, taking in the faces of humans and Zephyrians standing side by side. 5 years ago, I was just a dreamer from a small blue planet, chosen by chance to inherit a legacy I couldn't begin to understand. Today, we all share in that inheritance. The legacy of Zornthal, the wisdom of the Void Harbingers, the combined potential of our two worlds. These are the foundations upon which we will build our future among the stars. As Jake concluded his speech, a new holographic display appeared, showing the vast expanse of the Milky Way galaxy. Slowly, points of light began to appear, representing the worlds they had already made contact with and those they hoped to reach. Together, we have already achieved the impossible, Jake said, his voice filled with determination and hope. Now, let us journey forward into the cosmic ocean, not just as humans or Zephyrians, but as citizens of a universe more vast and wondrous than we ever dreamed. The celebration that followed was one for the ages, spanning two worlds and watched by billions across Earth and Zephyria. As the festivities continued, Jake found a quiet moment to slip away. He made his way to a small observatory perched on the edge of the portal. There, he found Lyra, Azura, and Crix waiting for him. These three, his first allies on Zephyria, had become his closest friends and advisors. Quite a speech, Jake Carter, Lyra said, her eyes shimmering with pride. Jake smiled, feeling a wave of nostalgia. Hard to believe how far we've come. There were times I thought we wouldn't make it. Azura's liquid form rippled with amusement. You underestimate yourself, as always. Zornthal chose wisely. Crix chimed in agreement. Indeed, your human perspective, combined with Zephyrian knowledge, has opened paths we never imagined. Jake turned to gaze out at the stars, visible through the observatory's crystal dome. And now we're about to explore them. It's overwhelming. You're not alone, Jake, Lyra said softly, placing a hand on his shoulder. Whatever challenges we face out there, we'll face them together. As they stood there, two humans and two Zephyrians, united in friendship and common purpose, Jake felt a sense of peace wash over him. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril, but they would face it as one. The Void Harbingers had been right. Harmony was the key, not just between different species or civilizations, but between all aspects of the cosmic dance. As they prepared to take their first steps into the wider galaxy, Jake knew that this understanding would be their greatest strength. As the first stars began to twinkle in the Earth sky, mirrored by the bioluminescent lights of the City of Luminescence on Zephyria, Jake Carter, the unexpected heir, the bridge between worlds, and now a cosmic explorer, smiled. The greatest chapter of their story was just beginning. The universe awaited, vast and mysterious, and together they would embrace it, one star at a time.